David Butler feels at home in London's upscale Mayfair district. This is where Butler's clients are based, at least for now. Butler advises hedge funds managers primarily on tax matters. But an increasing number of offices in Mayfair are becoming vacant as fund management firms relocate to Switzerland. They believe the climate is hostile in London and that hedge funds are the scapegoats for the financial crisis.
They don't feel that they are looked after so much now, supported by the government here so much. So they feel that they will be supported more elsewhere. They can have a better lifestyle elsewhere, and the tax rates will be lower for them.
The luxury shops and businesses in Mayfair welcome the hedge fund community, who often spend over 2,000 euros on fine cigars after a lavish meal in a top-class hotel. Many of the regular customers at Davidoff on St. James Street worked in the hedge fund sector.
We've had a number of very important customers for us leave the country entirely. And for the very reasons you've mentioned, they feel unloved, they feel that the government has something against them, and for them, from a financial perspective, continuing to stay in London has become a very, very expensive proposition.
Starting this tax year, the top income tax rate has risen from 40% to 50%. The British public has been sharply critical of hedge fund managers. Mark co-founded a hedge fund company that manages over €500 million. He only agreed to speak to us on condition of anonymity.
To easily write off the financial system as though it's all guilty is superficial, and I think a lot of people operating and working in the financial services feel that they don't want anything to do with it, and therefore why not move to a country which is more welcoming in terms of financial activity.
Since the start of the financial crisis, David Butler and his team have helped hundreds move to Switzerland. Many who leave London hail from the United States or other parts of Europe. For them, moving doesn't pose a major problem.
They tend to be relatively small organizations. They can undertake most of their activity from anywhere in the world. They're very mobile. One example, we moved a team of 14 people to Geneva. From the time they decided that they wanted to move to the time when they were sitting there trading with all their voice and data connections working took 8 weeks.
British politicians like Lord NEWBY are trying to strike a balance. The public wants to see tighter controls and higher taxes on the financial sector. But when hedge funds and their high-earning executives leave town, Britain loses out on tax revenue, around €500 million a year.
One shouldn't get panic-stricken because a few hedge funds have decided to move to Switzerland. I mean, I think the general view is that although some have moved and possibly a few more might, it's not a general move, it's not a general exodus. And we've got to be careful not to regulate in such a harsh way that we drive a very large number of people out. But I don't think there's any likelihood of that.
Politicians may still be confident that London will remain a major hub for the finance sector. But hedge fund manager Mark says loyalty doesn't exist in his line of business.
When people look at the options, places like Singapore are growing very strongly. Hong Kong is growing very strongly. And you can be absolutely certain that in 10 or 15 years, Shanghai is going to have a major offshore banking centre. So if we damage the business in Europe too much now by regulation, then the consequences for the long term in Europe are going to be severe.
Mark says that many hedge funds take advantage of loopholes in the corporate tax system. If that no longer works in London, they'll just go somewhere else. And in any case, their clients' profits end up in offshore tax havens, far from the reach of the British taxman.